Morning, everyone. Welcome to Hacking Self-Storage. It is Monday morning. I don't know why I'm pointing at you guys at the screen, but I am. And that can only mean one thing. We are going through my week in numbers, what it's been like, etc. Again, I apologize. This one has to be a fairly quick one because I've got my child's sports day today. So I'll be really excited there. Do you know what? Everything's frozen on my screen. I can't even open my emails. I can't do anything. So do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use this opportunity, guys, to tell you as I frantically try and get it working. I've come to a decision last week and it's made me feel so much better. As you know, I am literally trying to sprint all the time. I'm trying to make sure that we improve, we get better, and we open more sites. That's fundamentally, I want to expand. But I've got to say, there's just things in the market that are just worrying me, not necessarily this self-storage market. Well, there's been a few people I've been speaking to. We've seen a small dip in June. I've been speaking to removal men. I've also been speaking to estate agents, and we're definitely seeing a dip now. We've seen a dip, and this is an expected dip because it couldn't go on like it was before. It couldn't continue being fantastic. I'm not saying, by the way, it's going to go bad or anything like that. I'm just saying that it's just taking a little dip. And what I don't want you guys to do is start pricing up self-storage and doing all your finances, etc., your cash flow forecasts, and expect it to be as it was a few years ago, or this last year or so, because you can't do that. Because if it drops off, in all likelihood it is going to drop off, then you're in a world of pain. I've been seeing some cash flow forecasts recently and how many square foot they expect to get per week. And I'm like, oh man. Your expectations of what you expect to get in terms of square footage, I would never put that down. Even for a site, a main road site like Clough Road, I would never ever expect to get that what you're expecting. And if you're planning for that, that means all your finances are worked around that, and it's just a recipe for disaster. So please, when you're planning out these sites and you're doing a cash flow and your expectations of what you're going to hit, I fundamentally, you've got to plan for worst case. All your financials have got to be worst case. Are you okay with worst case? Because if you're not, you shouldn't be doing it. And I know that sounds a bit rich coming from me because, as you know, I literally had no idea about cash flow forecasts or anything when I set up 6 years ago. Well, back of a napkin. That's basically it. And my cash flows was way out, and I was in a world of pain. I was in a world of pain for two years. For 2 years, it was robbing Peter to pay Paul. It was tough. And I don't want you guys to have to go through what I went through. With Clough Road, it's been seamless because I planned for the worst, all the finances for the worst case scenario. And we've done better than the best case scenario. As it happens, we're never going to be in a cash flow deficit position with Clough Road because of the way we structured the deal with a rent-free period, etc., and the rates. We're just very, very lucky. Very, very, no, bollocks to that. It's not lucky, it's good. When we first opened Willerby, we were very, very lucky because we was flying by the seat of our pants. And when we opened Clough Road, we structured it differently. We understood the financials, a lot more cash flow forecasts, etc. And we structured it all around that a professional business rather than a back of a napkin before. And I know which one I prefer. So in a nutshell, please guys, just be very, very careful when you are looking to open these self-storage sites, because I don't want you to open one, fall flat on your face because you aren't hitting your numbers, because I'm seeing a decline. Quarter one was busier than quarter two for us. And so we're seeing a decline. And I'm not saying, oh, it's terrible. The industry's going to shit or anything like that, because it's absolutely not. But please just be very, very careful with your financials, because you don't want to get yourself in a problem, in a sticky situation. So much so, I'm opening in Boston, as you know, and then that's it for next year. I'm benching all expansion plans, and not for any other reason other than I'm just, when you're unclear what to do, I don't want to rush into a bad mistake. And sometimes standing still is moving forward, and that's what I'm going to do, because there's a site that I could possibly get. It's a beautiful site. It's going to cost 1.2 million pounds for the full cash, for the full development, but it's a winner. It's a winner. But I'm just a little bit worried about the industry, the state of play. What's going to happen with COVID? Is COVID coming back? The war. What are the repercussions of the war? And when you're unsure, you're not unsure. There's no, just don't do it, don't expand. And so for next year, I'm staying still, and I'm going to strengthen my balance sheet and make sure I'll be like a coiled spring. Then I'll be ready to go again in a year. And so I just want to take a step back and just think, okay, let's look around. And by the way, it might only be a step back for 6 months, but at the minute I've chosen just to step back for a year and just really strengthen our processes, our strategy, what we're doing, how we're marketing. Get Clough Road full up. Boston, we've got Boston as well opening up later this year. So we'll have 4 sites. I've got a meeting 2 weeks' time that's a new build that will be open in 15 months, which is going to be absolutely fantastic if we get it in a really ideal location next door to a Starbucks. Again, you know me and Starbucks. I like Starbucks. So there's that one as well. But that won't be opening for at least another year. So I'm just halting because I'm just a little bit concerned, and the way I see the market at the minute, I want to see some more positives first. And by the way, a decision like this is right for me. It might not be right for you. I mean, don't forget we've got Clough Road that's only just opened. So we've got that's just opened, and then we've got Boston to fill up as well. So it's not like we're not moving forward. We've got a lot to do still. It just means that we're not going to take on the debt for a £1.2 million new facility at the minute. £1.2 million is a lot of money. It scares me a little bit. So, and by the way, it should scare you. Being scared is good, right? So, and also what I want to do, I'm going to put it out here right now, is I've been asked so many times for a mastermind. That's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on a mastermind. So you'll be hearing more of it. I want to do a storage mastermind. I'm going to do a storage mastermind. But the only problem is I want to make, this next week or 2 weeks is going to be all about research and about how I can provide the most value. Because if I do it, there's no way I'm doing it without making sure it is absolutely golden and the best value for money you're going to get, and making sure that you're going to get something for it. And do you know what? I will love talking to self-storage owners. That's what I love doing. So it's going to be good for me. It's going to be good for hopefully the people who join. Well, it will be good for the people who join. How do we marry that up? That's what we're working on this week. Okay, so the amount of quotes this week, I've got to really go because I've got 3 minutes until I'm supposed to be off. My kids' sports day. Right, amount of quotes, 26. That's 3.71 quotes per day. So we're going down. Number of reservations, 10. Nailed it. That's 38% conversion rate. We've got 5 forward move-ins. That's half of them. Move-ins, we had 10. So that's a 38% conversion rate. Again, for 735 square foot moved in last week. Other move-ins was 1. Somebody took an extra 50 square foot room. So in total, we took 785 in square foot. Not fantastic. We want to take more than that. It needs to be 1,000 in a week for me at Willerby. Don't forget we do Clough Road tomorrow, and so we've currently had 785 in total moved in. The Luton was rented out 6 times. Where did the quotes come from? I'll tell you really quickly. Google was 13, that's 50%. Word of mouth was 6, that's 23%. Passing by was 4, that's 15%. Social media was 3, that's 11.54. Square foot moved in 785. As you know, I'm going to take a quick swig of tea. I love a cup of tea in the morning. Square foot moved out was 1245, meaning the net result was 460. It was 460 square foot down. Amount of rooms moved in was 11. Amount of rooms moved out was 15. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to pause it because I feel like I'm just going a little bit too fast, and I'm going to tell the wife I'm going to drive instead of walk. One moment, please. Back. Sorry, I normally like to walk to school with Zach, but we need to take some chairs and stuff for sports day. So Claire was driving, I was walking, I had to get steps in, and then I was trying to rush through it, but because I spent so much time telling you that I'm not doing anything, it's too much of a rush. Right, so amount of rooms moved in, it was 11. Amount of rooms moved out was 15. So total internal rooms occupied is 364. 1 container in, 2 containers out. So that means it's 41 containers rented out. And we've got 4 car parking spaces. Oh man, the percentage. Oh no, I won't go below 80%. It will never ever go below 80%. That's exactly what I sounded like. And that's exactly what I said a bit ago. And already we're at 81.39%. And this week's looking even worse. So I told you, it's just June, worst June ever. And you've got to, the way I look at the financials and stuff is like, if I did this extra site, I nearly told you where it wasn't. I don't want to tell anybody where it is because it's a bloody great site. It still might be there in a year. Who knows with the economic climate? It might be there in a year. But if I did this site and all of a sudden Stormore dropped down to 60% occupancy, what would that mean in terms of cash flow for me? And it would mean a world of pain. If Stormore went down 60%, I'm not saying it will go down 60%, it's very, very unlikely, but who knows? Plan for unlikely. Just don't put your head in the sand and think, nah, do you know what? Can't happen. Well, it can happen. It does happen to businesses. And so we've got to plan for worst case scenario. If we don't plan for worst case scenario, if it eventually comes, then one, if you plan for it, then you know what's going to happen, you know what to do. And two, if it comes and you haven't planned for it, then you're in the shit, my friend. And so I looked at the numbers and I thought, right, okay, 60% full. This is what means in terms of revenue. This is what means in terms of our surplus cash flow. Oh shit, we're in trouble. And I've just took on £1.2 million worth of extra debt that we need to fund. And it's just, my levels of confidence have just waned a little bit. I think there's more chance of us seeing a decrease in occupancy now than there was maybe 3 months ago. And so I'm just a little bit careful. And it's just because of the outside world as well. We just don't know what's happening. So, people will be listening to this like, probably thinking, well, you always said about self-storage. I still massive believer in self-storage. Self-storage long-term will win. It's just that I personally don't fancy putting 7 figures in the market at the minute when I've got so much going on. I've got Clough Road, Boston, etc. A new site that we're ground up building one. I just don't need the extra one at the minute. I just feel like that it's a lot to ask. And by the way, I know I put a message on the other day about buying self-storage facilities. I still buy. I stand still in terms of new development, because don't forget, when you open a new development, your running costs are exponentially high. Well, not exponentially high, they're very, very high, and you have very, very little revenue coming in. So you've got a difference in cash flow, and that you've got to obviously make up. But if I bought a self-storage, then it'd be cash flow positive straight away. So therefore, there's no drain on cash flow. And yes, you've got to obviously plan for it to go in to getting worse and everything like that, making sure your numbers work. But I'd be more inclined to buy a self-storage facility at the minute, because there's cash flow already there, than I would be to sell for a new build at the minute. It's only because, and I know so many people who are expanding and doing well, and it's got to be right for you. It's what you feel comfortable with. And for whatever reason, last week when I really sat down and thought about it and looked at the numbers, I was like, do you know what? It just doesn't make sense for me. I'm going back on it again, aren't I? Look at me getting on my high horse. It just doesn't make sense for me at the minute. And I want to make sure that in times like this, that we make sure the balance sheet is as strong as possible. And I'm not saying and it's the inflation, all that sort of thing it's just worrying me slightly. And I just want to make sure that I'm planning for the worst case scenario. And in these sort of times, your balance sheet needs to be strong balance sheet. And so that's what I want to do. Okay, right. I think that's enough about that. All right, Zaki?
Yeah.
He's all ready for his for sports day. Right, so we're 81.39% occupied. Average sales per move-in was £18.58. The sales on the insurance last week were £52,000. That means it was an average of 5,200. As he starts shouting when I'm recording the podcast, why would you do that, Zach? Why would you do that? Average insurance sold was 5,200. Move-ins due this week. This is the upsetting bit. 5 move-ins due this week for 310 square foot. So we're getting the reservations, but there's also been a lot of cancelled reservations, expired reservations as well, which is upsetting. Amount of move-outs due this week is 12 for 940 square foot. So we're due to lose about 630 square foot, which is worrying. He's going to play on the arcade game. Right, revenue. How much money did we take? And I am off because I still need to take him to sports day. I should have opened the sheet before. Again, of course I should, but I didn't. Here we go. It's opening. I've got to ring that person back as well. Right, here it is. So it's didn't take very much at all. Weekly revenue for all 3 sites was £20,443.73. We took £2,095.39 at Clough Road. Beverley, we took £2,309.82, and at Willerby, we took £16,038.52. In Willerby, we had 1,171 bounce direct debits. At Beverley, we had £362.99, and at Clough Road, we don't have any bounce direct debits because we are using Stripe, and the team says that Stripe is absolutely amazing, and it's definitely worth the 1.4% I think we pay to make sure that we paid. It's so much easier. We have to any callbacks, debtors and stuff. It automatically does it, which is wonderful. So yeah, that's one thing I've definitely learned. I didn't think. Do you know what? This is why you should be always open to learning stuff. When Gavin Shields from Stora, when he told me about it, I was like, no. I don't want to take it. I don't want to go on down that route because I want that 1.4% myself. I don't want to pay somebody a percentage. But as it happens, he was correct. It is so much easier, so much better. And you don't have to do any of the callbacks. You don't have to. It's just seamless. I think was the word from the team. All right, guys and girls, I'm going to go, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I think we've got an episode every single day this week. We've got loads coming up. We've got loads of interviews lined up as well. So busy time. All right, guys, girls, love you, appreciate you. Zach said bye. I'm out of here.